My name is Emma. I am 26 years old. I worked in a tall glass building in San Francisco. It was called Salesforce Tower. People said it was the most famous office in the city. Every morning, I looked up at the building and felt proud. I wore my best clothes, took the train, and walked with my head high. I loved my job. I loved the fast work. I loved the coffee shop downstairs. But most of all, I loved my boss. His name was David. He was 34 years old. He wore clean suits and spoke with calm words. He smiled when he talked. He listened when people spoke. I watched him every day. I did not mean to, but I could not stop. David was smart. He was strong. He knew how to lead. Everyone in the office liked him. But when he looked at me, something felt different. I was just an assistant. I answered calls. I sent emails. I made sure the meeting rooms were ready. But still, he saw me. At first, it was small. He smiled when I gave him papers. He looked at me longer than needed. One day, he asked if I wanted lunch from the same place he liked. I said yes. He said, "Good. You have taste." I smiled all day after that. My friends at the office started to joke. "Emma, the boss is looking at you again. Emma, you'll be the next manager soon." I laughed with them. But inside, I was scared. Was this real? Was he really interested? After some time, he began to speak to me more. He asked me to join team meetings. He gave me small tasks. He asked my ideas in group calls. He looked happy when I spoke. I felt proud. I worked harder each day. I wanted him to see me. I started to like my job more. I came early. I stayed late. I wore nice shirts and clean shoes. I wanted to look my best, but I did not try too much. I wanted to be simple. I wanted him to see me for who I was. He made jokes in meetings. Sometimes he looked only at me. My heart beat faster. I looked down and smiled. I could not help it. I felt something growing. I was not sure what it was, but it felt warm and real. One day, I stood alone in the break room. David came in. He said hello and smiled. He asked if I liked my job. I said yes. He looked at me for a moment. He said, "You are sharp. You will go far." Then he left. My hands felt cold, but my face was warm. That night I could not sleep. His words stayed in my head. He said I would go far. Did he mean it? Did he see something in me? I felt happy. I felt strong. I felt seen. But not everyone was happy. Some people began to look at me in a strange way. They did not smile. They did not talk much. Claire was one of them. She was older than me. She worked there for many years. She sat near David's office. She saw everything. One morning I walked past her desk. She said, "Be careful, Emma. Some people don't like girls who rise fast." I did not answer. I just walked away. My hands shook a little. I did not understand why she said that. I began to feel watched. When I walked into a room, people stopped talking. When I walked by, they looked at me, then looked away. I felt small. I felt cold, but I tried to ignore it. I told myself, just do your work. Be strong. David was still kind. He still smiled, but he spoke less now. He looked tired. He stayed in his office more. I thought maybe he was busy. I waited for a moment alone with him again. That moment came one night. I worked late. The office was quiet. I was about to leave. He saw me by the elevator. He said, "Do you have a ride?" I said no. He said, "Come, I'll drive you." I said thank you. In the car, we talked. He asked about my family. I said I had no one here. I moved alone from Texas. He said, "That is brave." I smiled and said, "I just wanted to grow." He said, "And you will." His voice was soft. After that night, something changed in me. I felt close to him. I felt like he cared. I did not tell anyone, but I began to dream about him. Not big dreams, just small ones, like coffee together or walks in the evening. But soon, everything changed. One Monday morning, I came to work. My desk was moved. My name was not on it. My files were not there. I went to my manager. He said, "You sit near the copy room now." I asked why. He said, "It's just a change." I tried to believe him, but I felt something was wrong. People passed me without talking. Some even laughed. I checked my emails. I was taken off a team, then another team. I had no meetings. My calendar was empty. I asked one coworker if something happened. She said, "I don't know. Talk to Claire." I did not want to talk to Claire. I was scared. I wanted to speak to David, but he did not look at me anymore. I sent him one short message. I asked if we could talk. He did not answer. He read it, but he said nothing. I felt lost. The next day, I came to work as usual. At 10 a.m., I got a message from HR. "Come to room 4 at 11. My hands started to shake. I walked there slowly. The HR woman was named Anna. She looked at me and said, "Emma, this will be hard, but we need to end your job here." I said, "Why?" She said, "There were concerns." I asked, "What concerns?" She said, "This is final." I packed my things in silence. No one helped me. No one said goodbye. I looked at David's door. It was closed. He did not come out. He did not say one word. I walked out of the tall tower. The street was loud. My face was red. My eyes were wet. I found a bench and sat down. I looked up at the glass building. It looked big, but it felt cold now. I thought about everything. The looks, the talks, the quiet smiles, the ride in his car, the kind words, the silence after, the move, the meeting, the end. I asked myself, did I make a mistake? Did he lie? Did Claire say something? Did he even care? I did not have answers. I only had questions. I lost my job. I lost my place. I lost the small dream I had. And worst of all, I did not know why. Before I share the rest of my story, I need to know, where are you listening from? Knowing someone hears me, understands me, gives me strength. I stayed on the bench for a long time. My hands felt cold. My eyes looked up at the glass tower. I used to love that building. Now it felt like a bad dream. I had no job. I had no answers. I felt like I had no voice. People walked by. Some looked at me. Some did not. I wanted to cry, but I could not. My heart felt slow. My head was full. I did not understand what happened. One day, I was fine. The next day, I was gone. I took the train home. The seats were full. I stood by the door. I looked out the window. I saw the city pass by. I felt small. I felt lost. I thought about David. He did not say goodbye. He did not look at me. He said nothing. That night, I sat at home in silence. I did not turn on the TV. I did not eat dinner. I looked at the floor for a long time. I thought about work. I thought about my desk. I thought about his voice. I wanted to forget, but I could not. I checked my phone. No message from him. Not one word. I wanted to text him. I wanted to ask, why? But I did not. I was afraid. I was hurt. I was not sure if he would even answer. The next day, I woke up early. My body was tired, but my eyes were open. I sat in bed for an hour. I looked at the wall. I had no work to go to. I had no plans. I had no idea what to do. I made a small breakfast. I sat at the table. The toast was cold. The tea was weak. I took one bite. I stopped eating. I felt sick. I pushed the plate away. I opened my laptop. I looked at job sites, but I could not focus. The words moved too fast. I closed it again. I sat on the couch. I held my hands together. They were shaking. Later that day, I got a message from a friend at work. Her name was Mia. She said, "I'm sorry, Emma. I don't know why they did that to you." I said, "Thank you." I asked, Did someone say something? She said, I think Claire went to HR. My eyes froze. Claire? Of course. I should have known. She never liked me. She always watched me. Maybe she told them lies. Maybe she said I did something wrong. I never did. But I knew how it looked. I was close to the boss. She did not like that. I sat back. My hands were cold again. I thought about David. Why did he not protect me? Why did he not speak for me? He was my boss. He liked me. At least, I thought he did. I wanted to go back to the office. I wanted to stand in front of him and ask, did I do something wrong? But I knew I could not. I was not welcome there anymore. I was out. And no one was going to open the door for me again. That evening, I went for a walk. The streets were full. People talked, laughed, and moved fast. I walked slow. I kept my eyes low. I passed by a coffee shop near Salesforce Tower. I stopped for a moment. I used to go there every morning. Now I did not want to go near it again. I crossed the street. I looked up. The glass tower stood tall. I stared at it. My eyes filled with tears. I wiped them quickly. I told myself, don't cry here. I walked away fast. At home, I sat down again. My phone was still quiet. I waited for a message. Just one. But it never came. I wanted to believe David was good. I wanted to believe he was kind. But now, I did not know what to believe. The next day, I got another message from Mia. She said, Claire told HR you were not acting like a team player. I asked, why? She said you only talked to David, not to others. I laughed a little. It was not true, but maybe it looked that way. I worked hard. I never broke rules. I did not act special. I only did my job. But people watch. People talk. People judge. I knew that now. In an office, not everyone is your friend. Some want to see you fall. I thanked Mia. I said, you are kind. She said, you didn't deserve this. I said, I know. That night, I looked at old emails from David. He had sent many messages to me. Thanks for the report. Good job today. Join the call at 3. I read each one. I looked at how he used to speak to me. The tone was soft, not like a normal boss. It was more... I remembered the way he smiled, the way he looked at me. I was not wrong. He liked me. I saw it in his eyes. I felt it in his voice. But now, it was all gone. He said nothing when I left. No help. No words. I thought maybe he was scared. Maybe he could not fight for me. Maybe someone told him to stay quiet. But that did not make it better. It made it worse. He let me go. He let me fall. A week passed. I did not get any calls. No job news. No offers. I stayed home. I tried to smile. I tried to move on. But it was hard. I felt stuck. I felt hurt. Then one day, I saw David on social media. He was at a company event. He looked happy. He stood next to Claire. She smiled at him. He smiled back. My eyes burned. I shut my laptop. I walked away. He moved on. He was fine. But I was not. I gave my time. I gave my heart. I lost my job. And I lost something more. I lost my trust. That night I made a choice. I would not cry for him again. I would not wait for a message. I would not ask why. I did not get answers. But I saw the truth. He was not the man I thought he was. He looked at me once like I mattered, but when it counted, he looked away. Days passed. Then weeks. I stayed home most days. I looked out the window. I watched the cars. I watched people walk. They had places to go. I had no place now. I had no job. I had no plan. I felt empty. Each morning I told myself, get up. I made tea. I cleaned the kitchen. I tried to feel normal. But I was not okay. I thought about David again. I remembered his eyes. I remembered his smile. I remembered the way he made me feel. But now I knew it was not real. If it was real, he would have helped me. If it was real, he would not stay quiet. But he said nothing. He let me walk away. He acted like I never worked there, like I never mattered. I thought about going back. I wanted to walk into that glass tower and ask him why. I wanted to hear his voice. I wanted him to look at me and say sorry. But he would not. I knew that now. He moved on. I had to move on too. I sat down with my laptop. I opened job websites. I read slowly. I looked at jobs for assistants. I saw one job I liked. It was at a small company. I sent my name and resume. My hands shook a little, but I pressed send. The next day, I got a reply. They wanted to meet me. I smiled for the first time in weeks. I found my clean shirt. I wore my good shoes. I took the train to the office. It was small but nice. The people there were friendly. The manager asked me many questions. I answered them all. I told the truth. I said I lost my last job fast. I said I did not know why. The manager looked at me kindly. She said, "Thank you for your honesty." I felt warm inside. 3 days later, I got a call. I got the job. I sat on my bed and cried. Not sad tears, just full ones. My hands covered my face. I was not lost anymore. I had a place again. I had work. I had a start. On my first day, I felt nervous. I walked into the new office. I smiled at people. They smiled back. The air felt better. Not heavy. Not cold. I sat at my desk. It was small, but it was mine. And I was thankful. I worked with care. I did not talk much at first. I watched. I listened. But the people were nice. One girl gave me coffee. Man helped me with my computer. The boss said, "You are doing well." I smiled and said, "Thank you." In my new job, no one gave strange looks. No one made jokes about me. No one made me feel small. I was just part of the team. I was just a person doing her job. And that was enough. One day, I walked past Salesforce Tower again. I stopped. I looked up at the glass walls. I remembered everything. The good days. The bad days. The final day. I stood still, but I did not cry. I did not feel cold this time. I said to myself, that place is not mine anymore. I turned around and walked away. I walked slow, but I felt light. I was not broken now. I was not sad. I was still healing, but I was okay. Some days I still thought about David. I wondered if he ever thought of me. I wondered if he felt sorry, but I would never know. And I did not need to know. His story ended. Mine did not. I did not send him a message. I did not wait for his words. I did not ask for his help. I let him go. I let the past stay in the past. One night, I made tea and sat by the window. I looked at the sky. It was dark, but quiet. I thought about who I was before. I thought about the girl who looked up at that big tower and said, "I want to grow." And I did grow, but not in the way I thought. I did not rise fast. I did not win love. I lost things, but I found something more. I found my strength. I found my peace. I was proud of myself. I was still standing. I had a job. I had a voice. I had my own life now. No boss could take that from me again. I woke up early the next morning. I got ready for work. I packed my bag. I took the train. I smiled at the people next to me. The sky was blue. The air was fresh. When I reached my stop, I walked with a calm heart. I walked past Salesforce Tower one last time. I did not stop. I did not look up. I did not feel pain. That place was behind me now. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and share. More emotional and inspiring stories are coming soon. My name is Florence. I am 18 years old. I live in New York with my parents. I use a wheelchair. I cannot walk. My legs do not move. I was not always like this. When I was small, I could run and play. But when I was 12, I got sick. The doctor said it was a disease. It hurt my legs. After that, I could not stand again. Many years have passed. I finished school last year. Now I stay at home. I read books. I watch the street from my window. I see many people. They walk, talk, and smile. I see girls my age. They walk with their boyfriends. The boys hold their hands. They laugh. They take pictures. Sometimes they kiss. When I see that, I feel something inside. I look down at my legs. I cannot move them. I think, why not me? I am not a bad person. I am not mean. I also want love. I also want someone to care, but nobody ever looks at me like that. I feel small. I feel alone. My friends from school still text me, but they are busy now. They go to college. They go to parties. I stay at home. I try to be happy, but some days are hard. I look at myself in the mirror. I see a girl with brown hair and soft eyes. I think I look okay. But then I remember I am on a wheelchair. Maybe that is all they see. One afternoon, I sat near the window. I saw a boy and girl laughing outside. The girl looked a bit like me, but she could walk. She ran, and the boy ran after her. I smiled a little, but then I felt my smile go away. I closed the curtain and turned my chair. My eyes felt warm. I did not cry, but I wanted to. That evening, I did not talk much at dinner. My mom asked, "Are you okay?" I said, "I'm just tired." But my dad looked at me for a long time. He said nothing. He just watched. The next day, he came to my room. He sat beside me. He said, "Can we talk?" I said yes. He smiled and touched my hand. "You are quiet these days," he said. "You used to smile more. What's going on?" I looked down. I didn't know what to say. I stayed quiet. He waited. Then he said, "Is it about the wheelchair?" I felt my face get hot. I nodded slowly. He gave a small sigh. "Florence," he said, "your legs don't move. That's true. But your heart, your mind, your smile, those work just fine. You are strong. You are smart. You are still you." I looked at him. I wanted to believe him, but I said, "Nobody sees that, Dad. They only see the chair. I see girls my age. They have love. They have boys who care. But no one ever looks at me like that." He did not answer right away. Then he said, Let me tell you something. When I was young, I had a friend. Her name was Lily. She was also in a wheelchair. But she was full of life. She was funny and kind. Many people liked her, not because of her legs, but because of her heart. You remind me of her. I said nothing. He smiled. Florence, do you think love is only for people who can walk? I shook my head. Then why do you think you don't deserve it? I thought about his words. I did not have an answer. He stood up. You are more than what people see. Don't forget that. Then he left the room. I sat there for a long time. I looked out the window again. The street was quiet. It was getting dark. I thought about the girl who looked like me. I thought about Lily, my dad's friend. I tried to imagine her, a happy girl in a wheelchair. I tried to imagine myself like that. The next morning, I got ready early. I brushed my hair. I wore a soft blue top. My mom smiled. Going out? She asked. I said yes. My dad came in. Want to go to the park? I nodded. He lifted me into the car. He put my chair in the back. At the park, the sun was warm. Children ran around. Dogs barked. People walked by. I sat near the lake. My dad sat on a bench. I looked around. I saw many faces. Some looked at me, then looked away. One woman smiled at me. I smiled back. A boy walked past with his dog. The dog came to me and sniffed my hand. I laughed. The boy said, "Sorry about that." I said, "It's okay. He's cute." The boy smiled. His name is Max. I reached out and touched Max's head. He wagged his tail. The boy looked at my chair, then looked at me. "Do you come here often?" he asked. I shook my head. "First time in a while." He sat down on the grass. Max lay next to him. "I'm Jake," he said. I said, "I'm Florence." We talked for a few minutes. He told me he lived nearby. He liked walking Max here. I told him I used to come here when I was small. He smiled. "It's a nice place," he said. I nodded. Then he looked at his watch. "I have to go. It was nice meeting you, Florence." I said, "You too." He stood up and waved. "Bye, Max," I said. The dog barked softly. When we went home, I felt different. I told my mom about Max. I told her about Jake. She smiled. "That's nice," she said. My dad looked at me and smiled too. "See?" he said. "The world is not blind. Some people look deeper." That night, I looked in the mirror again. I saw the same girl, but something had changed. My eyes looked stronger. I smiled. It felt real this time. Before I share the rest of my story, I need to know, where are you listening from? Knowing someone hears me, understands me, gives me strength. The next morning, I went to the window again. The street was quiet. I looked for the boy with the dog, but he was not there. I smiled to myself. Maybe he comes later. That afternoon, I asked my dad, "Can we go to the park again?" He looked happy. "Of course," he said. We got ready and left. The sky was bright. The air felt fresh. I liked that feeling. At the park, we sat near the lake again. I looked around, but Jake was not there. I waited, but I didn't want to look like I was waiting. I watched the birds. I watched the kids play. I watched the water move. After some time, I saw Max. He ran toward me again. My face lit up. Jake came behind him. "Hi again," he said. I smiled. "Hi, Max," I said, petting the dog. Jake laughed. "I guess he remembers you." Jake sat on the grass. My dad gave me a look and walked to another bench. He wanted to give us space. I liked that. Jake asked me simple things. "Do you like music? Do you like books?" I told him I liked soft songs and love stories. He said he liked the same things. We talked more this time. It felt easy. He did not ask about my chair. He did not look at it much. He looked at my face. That made me feel good. After some time, he said, "You seem nice." I smiled. "Thanks." "You too," Max barked. We both laughed. We met again the next day. Then again 2 days later. It became normal. The park was not just a place. It became something more. A place to smile. A place to feel free. One day, Jake brought 2 drinks. "I got you apple juice," he said. "I didn't know what you like, but I guessed." I took the juice and said, "Good guess." I liked how he talked to me. He didn't talk slow or strange. He talked like I was normal. I liked that most. After 2 weeks, he asked, "Can I add you on Instagram?" I said yes. That night, I saw his message. It said, "It was nice today." I replied, "Yes." Max makes me happy. He said, "You do too." I stared at that message for a long time. My heart felt warm. I didn't know what to say back. I just wrote, "Thank you." The next morning, I told my mom. She smiled. "He likes you," I said. "But why? He could talk to any girl. I can't even stand." She held my hand. "Love is not in the legs," she said. "It is in the heart, the mind, the voice, the way you care." I stayed quiet. I was scared to hope, but I also wanted to believe. Jake and I kept meeting. He made me laugh. He talked about his school. He asked about my dreams. I told him I wanted to work with animals. "Maybe at a pet shop or shelter," I said. He smiled. That's perfect for you. One day I asked him, do people treat you different because of Max? He laughed. Yes, sometimes. But I don't mind. He's my best friend. I looked at Max. He was chewing a stick. You're lucky, I said. Jake looked at me. I think I'm lucky for something else too. I looked away. He said, Florence, can I ask you something? I nodded. Do you feel sad when people stare? I paused, then said, yes, but I'm used to it. He said, I don't stare, but I see you. His words stayed with me. Later that night, I sat in my room. I looked at our pictures. He had posted one of Max and me on his story. He wrote, she makes him smile. My face felt warm. I covered my face with my hands. Next week, he came to the park with something new, a small flower. It's not big, he said, but I thought of you when I saw it. I took the flower and smiled. It's perfect. Then he said, can I say something? I said yes. He looked nervous. I like talking to you. I think about you when I'm not here. I looked down. Then I looked up. I think about you too, I said. He smiled. We didn't say more. When I got home, I felt full inside. Not heavy, just full. Like I was real again. Like I was more than a girl in a chair. The next time we met, he said, some of my friends want to meet you. I felt scared. Why? I asked. Because I talk about you, he said. They want to see the girl who makes me smile. I didn't know what to say. He added, only if you want to. I said, maybe later. I told my dad that night. He listened. Then he said, you are blooming, Florence. I said, blooming? He smiled. Like a flower. You are growing again. But not all days were easy. One day, I saw Jake with 2 girls. They were laughing. They looked perfect. Long legs, pretty hair. I felt small again. When Jake came to me later, I asked, who were they? He said, friends from class. I nodded, but I was quiet. He noticed. Florence, he said. They're just friends. Why do you look sad? I said, I can't walk. They can. Maybe they're better. He looked serious. Stop that, he said. You are not less because of your legs. You are more. You try harder. You smile even on hard days. You care. That is more. I looked at him. Why do you care so much? I asked. He leaned closer. Because I like you. And I want you to believe in yourself. Like I believe in you. That night, I cried, but they were not sad tears. They were soft, light tears. Something inside me was changing. I looked at myself again. Same face, same chair. but new eyes. I saw more now. I saw Florence. 1 week later, Jake sent me a message. He asked if I wanted to come to his school fair. I felt a little scared, but I also wanted to say yes. I had never been to a school event like that. He said there would be music, food, and of course, Max. I liked the sound of that. I told my parents. My mom smiled. My dad said he could drive me. They were happy that I wanted to go out again. I wore a clean white sweater and brushed my hair. I looked in the mirror and felt okay. My dad helped me into the car and we left. There were many people at the school. Some were walking. Some were laughing. Some were eating ice cream. I saw balloons and games. Then I saw Max. He ran toward me. I smiled right away. Jake followed behind him and waved. I felt better when I saw him. He pushed my chair slowly through the crowd. He showed me the music area, the food stalls, and some other students. Some of them looked at me, but most of them were busy with their own things. I stayed quiet. I was thinking too much. But Jake was calm, and that helped me relax. We went to sit under a tree. It was quiet there. The sky was orange and pink. I watched the light in the clouds. It was nice. Jake sat near me. Max lay down and closed his eyes. I felt warm even though the air was cold. Jake said he liked spending time with me. He told me that I made him smile. I didn't say much, but I felt something good inside. I didn't need to ask him what he meant. I already knew. I had never felt this way before. It was strange, but also soft and light. When I got home, my mom was waiting. She asked if I had fun. I said yes. I didn't tell her everything, but I think she knew. I went to my room and looked out the window. I could still see his face in my mind. His words stayed with me all night. After that day, Jake and I started to talk more. We still met at the park. He sometimes brought juice or a small snack. We talked about books, music, and animals. One day, he asked if I wanted to study again. I said I wasn't sure. I hadn't thought about it for a long time. But later that night, I looked online. I saw a short course about animal care. It looked simple and nice. I read the page many times. Then I signed up. I didn't tell anyone right away. I wanted to try it first and see how it felt. The first class was hard. I didn't understand everything. But I watched the video again. Then I understood more. I took it slow. I was learning step by step. Jake asked me about the class. I told him I liked it. He said he was proud of me. One day at the park, I asked Jake why he liked talking to me. He smiled and said I made him feel calm. He said I was kind and real. I looked away. I didn't know how to answer, but I was happy to hear it. I felt something new in my chest. It was not pain. It was soft. It felt like hope. After a few weeks, I passed my first class. I was very happy. I showed the email to my mom. She hugged me and told me I was doing well. My dad smiled too. He said this was only the start. I looked at them and felt proud. I was doing something again. Jake gave me a gift that week. It was a small necklace. It had the word brave on it. He said I reminded him of that word. I didn't know what to say. I held the necklace in my hand and said thank you. That was all I could say, but I meant it. I started to go out more. I went to the store with my mom. I talked to a few people. I felt a little less scared. Some people still stared, but I did not feel broken anymore. I just felt different. And that was okay. Jake and I did not talk about love, but I knew what we had. It was more than friendship. It was not loud. It was not fast. It was slow and quiet, like a soft light in a dark room. I liked it that way. It made me feel safe. One night I sat by my window. I looked at the street. The lights were yellow and soft. I thought about the girl I used to be, the one who looked down and felt small. I still had the same chair. My legs still didn't move. But I was not the same girl. I was learning again. I was smiling again. I was trying again. And now I also felt something more. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and share. More emotional and inspiring stories are coming soon.